everyone. So for today's recipe, I'm going to be making something that my wife really loves, and I'm going to tell you, it's spicy, it's delicious, it's hearty. You can eat it on a cold day. I'll even eat it on a summer day because I don't care. I don't really care about when to eat a soup, which is what we're going to make today. You can put it on rice, you can put it on noodles if you want. This is called Szechuan Boiling Beef. Super spicy. I love it. You don't have to make it spicy. But I would definitely say eat it spicy, and you know, if you haven't been to the bathroom in a few days, this is gonna help you out. So yeah, this is super delicious. So we're gonna go ahead and make this, and yeah.
Okay, so I have 2 T-bone steaks here that I'm going to cut because they're a little too thin, so I'm going to use these in my recipe today. You can use like a Lenta broil if that's what you want to use, but since I like my steaks rare, thin steaks don't really work out for that, do they? So I'm going to be cutting through these, but as I go, I just want to mention, as I cut these real thin, that you want to start off with some green onions that you're going to cut real fine and leave in some water to soak, and you'll see me use it in a little bit here. So going through here, just cutting against grain, getting nice thin strips. We want these really nice and thin for this soup. And I'm going to keep the fat too, because I like to add the fat to my soup. If I can chew it at the end, then I'm going to add it too. I just like that. So getting all of our steak over here, I'm going to put it in the bowl because we're going to marinate this. You can marinate it overnight if you want to, or you can just put it in for 15, 20 minutes and then throw it right into the soup as you're making the process. So into a bowl with our beef, we've got about 2 tablespoons of olive oil here. I'm adding a tablespoon of mirin as well. All right, and then there's that water I mentioned from the green onions. We're gonna add that in. It takes about 15, 20 minutes to get that water going. So you definitely wanna make sure you do this in advance. All right, and then we've got about 2 to 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. I'm just being real careful here with that cornstarch, and I'm adding 2 to 3 tablespoons of soy sauce there and about a tablespoon of hoisin. I'm going to mix this up and see if I want to add a little bit more cornstarch. So here I am. I'm adding just another tablespoon of cornstarch there and giving it a good mix. Now we have our garlic and our ginger here, which is going to go in later on. These are our aromatics, and our cabbage. So I'm going to finely dice the garlic and the ginger real fine here, and these are going to be added later on during the recipe. All right, so now we have our cabbage here. Now this is a green cabbage. I'm coring it out real quick here, and I'm going to slice it very thin. But I want to say something. If you can find a napa cabbage, it is 10 times better in the soup, but green still works very well. But I would definitely get napa if you can. I couldn't find one for like 3 weeks, and I said, to hell with it, let's just make it anyways. And it still came out really well in the end. But you're going to add this to your soup later on during the process.
So I have a wok going right here with about a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. I put it on medium to low heat. I don't want it too hot. And what I'm going to do is add about, this is like a tablespoon of Szechuan peppers. These are Szechuan peppercorns. I'm going to let those toast in there. I'm going to add a little bit more to this, so about 2 tablespoons. Then I have some dried chilies here. Now with the dried chilies, I cut off the stems, and I'm just going to pop those in. You want to pay close attention to this and not let everything burn, because once it starts burning, it creates a really bitter flavor. So if you notice that everything's getting real dark, that definitely means that you've gone a little too far. So we're going to go ahead and work this. All right, and with our oil still at medium to low, I'm going to go ahead and pour in our cabbage, and then I'm going to pour in some bean sprouts here for this as well. Then I'm just going to toss this and mix this thoroughly and just get a nice little saute on our cabbage and bean sprouts. Not charred, just a nice little saute on this. And then after these have sauteed for a little bit, I'm going to transfer them to a bowl. All right, so I went ahead and wiped off any excess on the wok, and I added a little bit more oil, heated it up on medium to low, and I'm gonna add some chili bean paste here to this, about 2 tablespoons. And then our garlic and mince and ginger that we cut up earlier, going in there as well. And then I'm just gonna toss this through. Let it coat with the oil and just slowly cook in there. So I've been working my garlic, ginger, and the soybean paste with the chili in it for a little bit now. I'm gonna add in some bone broth. This is beef bone broth. And I'm gonna bring this to about a medium heat, medium to high heat, and let that start to boil. But before I do, I'm gonna add in a little bit of MSG, about a tablespoon. After this is sitting for a little bit, I'm gonna add a little bit more bone broth, maybe like a cup, and then I'm gonna start working my beef into this.
All right, so once you're done heating up your chilies and your Szechuan peppercorns, you want to go ahead and dice them really fine. You can actually just put them in the blender to make it much faster. I just didn't here. But this is going to be a garnish later on in the recipe, so just get it real fine into like a nice powder, and then just transfer it to a bowl.
Okay, so we're back to our broth. It is boiling, so I'm going to start working the beef in batches here. So not a lot, just a little bit at a time. I'm going to boil this beef and I'm going to set it aside and keep working each batch. I don't want them to clump together, so I'm just going to work them slowly. Okay. All right, now we're here. So I have my cabbage and my bean sprouts in the bowl, and I'm going to go ahead and add my noodles, which noodles, it's up to you. You can have rice, noodles, whatever you want with this dish. I'm choosing noodles this time around, and then I'm going to add in my broth and everything else. All right, now I have my thin rice noodles. I'm going to go ahead and put those here. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in my beef and the broth that we made earlier. As a little bit of garnish, I'm going to add some cilantro around the outside, which you would know if you're from the 90s. Around the outside, M&M. All right, now our Szechuan peppercorns and our chili. I'm gonna go ahead and add that to the top, just like so. Okay, and remember I mentioned a showstopper to you. This is it. I've heated up oil at medium to low heat, and then I'm just gonna drizzle it amongst the chilies. All right, so it's all done now. Gonna go ahead and have a bite of this. I'm gonna take the broth first. Oh, that's so good. It's spicy, but it's not too spicy. Then I'm gonna have some of the beef. This is so good. I love this recipe. If it's cold outside, whatever, it doesn't really matter for me, but for most people, they like it to be cold with soups. But I love this. One of my favorite soups ever. Super easy, not a difficult soup. Go ahead and try it out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And yeah, we'll keep making more recipes.